In this video, we're going to be talking about the most effective marketing funnel if you are a professional salesperson. I don't care if you're online or local. The incredible thing about what I'm about to share with you is going to leverage the latest in AI. It is an extremely simple funnel consisting of only 2 pages. And when deployed correctly, I see a massive jump in profitability, like 40-50%. We're going to be walking through this thing step by step, the types of offers it works for, what the 2 pages consist of, how to integrate AI in a practical manner, including some step-by-step prompts in order to do what I'm about to show you. How's it going? My name's Paul Carell. I've been doing this internet marketing thing for about 10 years now, a little over. I've worked behind the scenes for some of the biggest names in the business, people you've definitely heard of, and now in these videos I share how the big dogs do things behind the scenes to make obscene amounts of money. All right, so let's jump in real quick. Let me minimize my ugly mug so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. I got this handy dandy Google Doc. I got this all laid out for you. So if you want a copy of this, I'll throw it somewhere below the video. Okay. So the real problem here is not generating leads. I've been a media buyer. I've been on the side of social media advertising mostly for my career. And I can tell you, I can teach you how to run effective lead generation ads in an afternoon. It's not a hard thing to do. The problem that everybody runs into, of course, is are you putting those leads into a sales process that's actually working? This is the problem. Okay. Lead generation is not the problem. Neglect is the problem. Got a few stats for you here. 78% of buyers simply go with the vendor that responds first. I'm looking at you local people right now. If you have a local service-based business, I see horrific statistics on this. People take up to 48 to 72 hours to respond to inquiries, right? No, you're never going to make any money that way, right? Only 70% of companies respond with leads within 5 minutes. Right? And they, of course, are the ones that are growing like weeds, not doing anything fancy. They're just following up with their leads. 71% of leads never get contacted at all. That's insane. Okay? And a lot of people out there are saying, well, I'm an online person. I know how this stuff works. I have autoresponders and things like that. And honestly, you know what email opt-in rates look like and all that stuff. And unless it's personalized, unless it's conversational, unless it's a true follow-up, man, it's just not going to cut it, right? Nurture sequences are great. I use them, but don't rely on them at all, okay? Average response time is staggering 42 to 47 hours. I just mentioned that it's nuts, okay? So here's the 5-minute rule, right? And this is the hidden gold mine, and this will give you a clue to the types of funnels I'm going to recommend here that literally outperform everything else. Okay, if you respond within 5 minutes, you are 21 times more likely to qualify a lead. Right? If you respond within 1 minute, you can boost conversion rates up to 391%, like 4x, 4x. For the advertising and leads you are already producing. Imagine 4x the profits without making any more additional media buys, without doing anything else other than just having these people follow up. Okay? Whoa. Waiting just 30 minutes drops your chances by that 4x. No good, my friends. But you know what? I hear you. I'm not a machine. You're not a machine. Using people like professional setters or full-time setters to do this stuff, yeah, it can work, if they do their job. But, it's tedious. It's time-consuming. Like a skilled salesperson, this is the worst part of their job. They don't want to do it. And when you hire setters, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people who said, I've hired setters and they never do their damn job. They never make a difference. They try to reach out to the leads one time, if at all, and if they don't get an answer right away, they just drop it. This especially drives me crazy when I hear people in brick and mortar saying, oh, well, I had my front desk people follow up and no one booked, and therefore these leads are no good. It's been the bane of my existence, and I've got this problem solved, right? And basically it's combining AI with good old-fashioned sales funnels. That gets the job done because, of course, AI follows up 24/7, 365. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't get annoyed. It doesn't take time off. It doesn't BS about how hard it's working, right? And I can tell you from experience, combining AI with lead generation, say like social media ads, and literally doing nothing else other than that will blow everything else you've done out of the water. It's going to blow a setter out of the water, a full-time setter that's costing you God knows how much a month. It's going to blow your fancy, webinar funnels, your follow-up sequences, and your retargeting like crazy. It's better than anything else right now. And it is the best application for AI. Forget content creation. Content creation is cool and all, but no. AI's superpower is following up and booking your calendar solid. Again, up to 400 times what you're seeing right now for no extra money spent on ads. If you're not implementing this, your competition will, and you will be absolutely screwed. All right, because they're going to dominate your market. They're going to hire somebody like me. I'm going to build it for them in an afternoon, and they're going to own you. Okay? I hate to be ominous, but things are changing rapidly, and the people who jump on this right now are the people that are going to dominate their markets, scale like crazy, and be in a very different financial place in the next 10 years. All right, enough of the hype. Let's talk about this funnel. This funnel is 2 steps and 2 steps only. Opt-in page, thank you page. That's it. Opt-in page, thank you page. And then your AI bot takes over from there, okay? What kind of offers do we put on the opt-in page? You got 2 right here. You got your good old-fashioned lead magnet. A good old-fashioned lead magnet is just a piece of free information you're giving away that solves a very specific problem very quickly, very easily for your ideal client. Pros of this, cheap leads, grows your list really fast, right? Easy to make, easy to deploy. Cons, of course, you're going to build a big list of people, but not all those people are going to be qualified. And not all of them are going to be looking to take action now, which means you're going to have not only that immediate follow-up from the booking bot, but you're going to have to have that long-term nurture sequence in place where you're adding value, making offers from here until doomsday, which you should have in place already, but I know a lot of you don't, right? It's a lot of extra effort. So typically, for a service provider, and again, I don't care if you're online or you're brick and mortar, I like the second type offer, which is a direct service offer where you call out your ideal client, you tell them exactly what you're going to do for them in exactly the right time frame, and if you have the ability, make them a guarantee, right? This is kind of what you're seeing out there. I think was largely popularized by Alex Hormozi with his irresistible offer framework. I don't think you have to go quite over the top with the guarantees that he does, but you can. I think you got to give credit to somebody like Joel Urway who calls it a power offer. I think looking at some of his content around this would be a good idea. But it's just making a compelling offer. Like, hey, are you my ideal client? I will do this exact thing for you in this amount of time. Period. End of story. You want to talk about it? Let's do it. Here's some proof. Here's our process. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Very, very simple, straightforward stuff. Now, these leads will obviously cost you more because they need you problem aware, solution aware. But the great thing is you're not wasting your time with people that are just like in the research phase and aren't going to buy for months down the road. All right. They're going to be contacting you saying, yeah, I'm ready to rock. If you can prove to me you can actually do what you say you can do, I'm giving you money today. Right. Which is, again, a fantastic place to start. Okay. Now, let's talk about building this bot. Okay. A bot can follow up via DMs. The bot can follow up via SMS. That's what I like to do. Right. And again, how that bot's going to follow up will differ. If you have somebody opting in for a good old-fashioned lead magnet, it's going to be far more conversational. It's going to be asking them, hey, what are you into? What kind of business are you in? Or whatever, where are you at? What's your biggest complaint? What's your biggest struggle? Yada, 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 right? It's very consultative so that it can qualify before it tries to book them into your calendar, right? When you're talking about the second type of offer, it's really like, It's real quick. It's just like, hey, you just opted in to get this kind of offer. When would you like to book a call? It's very simple, right? But again, you're going to want to have some qualification steps in there. So how do you go about creating this bot? Well, I included a few considerations here for you, and in future videos, we're going to go through this steps by step and get really granular with it. But essentially, here's what you need to do. Okay. Initial greeting, right? When you go into say ChatGPT or whatever you're using, and you say, hey, I want your help creating a prompt for a custom AI booking bot that follows up with leads who answer a social media ad, because that's generally kind of what you're doing or what I'm doing, right? So, and what's great is it'll walk you through the process pretty well. I've created a custom GPT that does this for me, a booking bot builder, but I'll be giving you access to that in later videos. I'm putting together something pretty cool, so stay tuned. But if you just use regular old ChatGPT, it'll say, great, let's talk about it. What do you want to do? And here are the things you want to do. You want to put in qualifying prompts, right? And these are general questions that you can ask. These are just whatever. What I generally say would use as a prompt when I'm creating this is say, I want to ask qualifying questions and use conditional logic. That's the terminology. Conditional logic. So I can ensure that only qualified leads can book. Here are the questions I would like to ask, right? And here are answers. Like if I ask, for instance, if I ask people, how many people in your database? That's a big qualifying question for me personally. If they have less than 500 people, I say, well, they're not qualified. Let them know gently that this offer isn't for them, for example, right? If they have 500 people or more in their database, please continue to the next step, right? So this is huge. This is going to save you a ton of problem because, again, leads aren't the problem. It's getting qualified leads who are ready to buy now on the phone. That is the problem, and this solves it for you, okay? And that's what conditional logic is all about. And then you got objection handling prompts, right? And a lot of times if you work with AI step by step, say, help me create some objection handling prompts. And they'll say, great, what's the most common objection that you often hear from prospects? And you just give it to them and it will come up with a section for doing exactly that for you, right? Objection handling prompts as well. Another great tip I like to give people is when you're creating a custom AI prompt here, let me just hit this real quick. I'll show you that in a moment. Is you want to give the AI your website URL as a reference. Like, here's my company for reference, right? Okay. And then you want to have a piece in your prompt specifically for following up with people who ghost you, all right, or ghost your bot. So you want to specifically tell the bot, like, hey, I want you to wait 24 hours or wait till business hours until somebody, if somebody starts a conversation with you and doesn't book, I want you to wait 24 hours and hit them up again. And if they still don't interact and finish the booking, I want you to wait another 48 hours and follow up again, right? Basically tell it to do the follow-up that in-person salespeople never freaking do, all right? Here's a quick example. And again, this is using a custom bot that I'll talk about how to get access to later. But again, help me create a speed to lead booking bot. Easy stuff. And a lot of times it'll kick this stuff out. Now you'll see, here's the qualification sequence, right? Here's the initial message, right? Your bot name here, your business name here. See, and it'll spit out templates like this. A lot of times it won't put out this qualifying sequence unless you ask it in advance. Okay. Value proposition, calls to action, right? If yes, if they hesitate, objection handling, built right in, Ghostbuster follow-up, right there. Everything we just talked about, it just spits it out. Now, generally speaking, if you don't have a customized bot specifically for doing this, again, you're going to have to work through this step by step. Oh, great, cool. Can we add a follow-up for people who ghost. Great, here it is. Can we add a frequently asked questions? Great, here it is, right? And just work through it step by step. I don't want to get bogged down on this because, again, we're going to get into this quite a bit. But here's another really good example of how AI is so damn good at this. It will ask you clarifying questions like this, right? What about your brand voice? On a scale of 1 to 5, would you rate Mindy's brand? You can tell I was doing this for a client earlier. In terms of formality, energy, technicality, right? Common phrases that you might use, all this stuff. And then, bam, look at that. I can just say, hey, create me this right here. This is, I can just hit copy, boom, and I can go put it in to a custom GPT that I can use, or another system like Go High Level, which I highly recommend. Right there, it's just a copy and paste. Look, I got frequently asked questions, booking rules, all that good stuff. Objection handling. It's just so damn easy now. Okay? Again, stick around, like and follow for more if you want me to create a video that walks you through this very specific process. Okay? Because again, if you just do this, generate the lead, follow up the lead, you cannot go wrong. I'll give you an anecdote. Okay? One of the people I worked for behind the scenes was Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone had Cardone Advertising. This is right before the pandemic, where they were doing lead generation for local service-based businesses. And all we did is have one lead magnet that was something to the effect of, how to generate more leads for your local service-based business online. It was something like just stupid obvious like that. And we had a boiler room of like 6 people whose only job was to follow up those leads within minutes of them coming in and follow up over and over again relentlessly until they answered. And you know what? Grant, obviously probably known for real estate more these days, but started off as a sales trainer. Dude knows how to make sales. And we were doing 8 figures inside, I think it was like 6 months, 8 months tops. It was ridiculous. And all it was a lead magnet and people following up. Of course, back then it was people following up manually. But you can have that same kind of power that a multimillionaire had, being able to hire 6 freaking people to pound phones all day. You can have that right now for like $97 a month or something, right? It's a joke. And again, that's why this is so powerful. That's why people that jump on this now are going to absolutely dominate. You also may know that Frank Kern was part of that project for a while. Had the good fortune to do a little bit of work for him behind the scenes a few years back during the pandemic. And he shared an anecdote not too long ago where he had a guy that owned a landscaping service, something super obvious like that, where he just followed up the damn. It was like, here's a guide for what to do with your yard this spring or something, and again, all he did was lead magnet, call the people who opted in the lead magnet. And what's crazy is I don't even think he did it within the first 5 minutes or so, because he was an actual dude following up, but he made sure he followed up day of, and it turned into a 6-figure revenue stream for him. So it's marketing and advertising online for a service-based business is a joke how simple it is. The only reason it's hard is because the follow-up process is tedious and time-consuming, and people simply do not do it. So now that we have AI on your side, creating the ads, creating the offers, the funnels, walk through never been all that hard anyways. Again, I could show you how to do that. And matter of fact, I'll make a note to myself. I'll do a video on that because it's stupid easy. Now, creating AI booking bots is pretty damn easy too. You plug that into a decent offer and a stupidly simple 2-page funnel. And again, if you're spending anything more than, I would say, $1,500 a month, 3,000 a month. Well, no, that might be too much actually. If you're a solo act, you're probably not going to be able to advertise more than like say 30 or $50 a day, because you're just going to get too many appointments, right? Like if you use I'll give you a couple stupid simple examples at a guy that was selling sales training, or no, lead generation for Google training for mortgage brokers. Deployed something like this, and he was booking calls for less than $50. I mean, it was an absolute joke. And again, he was spending $1,500 a month, and it was booking him between 1 and 3. No, I take that back. 3 and 5 calls a week, which was about all he could handle because he was a solopreneur. Another example. Taking this framework, if you are an established business owner, and applying it to your existing database, right? So I'm not even talking about new leads now. I'm talking about just unleashing this booking bot on your existing database. And again, I think if you have more than a couple hundred people, and better if a couple thousand people in there. I'll give you an example. An online coach I was helping out, back when I was doing more growth consulting, and this is the oldest trick in the book for consultants, by the way. What I did was unleash one of these bots on his existing database, which, if I'm remembering correctly, was around 3,600 people, a little bit over that he felt that kind of went dormant, were dead. You know, he'd been emailing them, letting them know like, hey, a new podcast dropped and stuff. So he did a good job nurturing, but not necessarily selling. Inside 7 days, he was able, he wasn't even taking sales calls with this. We unleashed one of these booking bots on that existing database. No sales calls for a $3,000 coaching package. And I think he sold 13 or 14 of them, brought in just over 40K inside 7 days. Absolutely ridiculous. And again, that's why this is one of those oldest tricks in the books for us, like consultant types, because we can produce really fast results for a client, get them really excited, and basically cover whatever retainer or variable compensation they're paying us. You know, and they're much more likely to continue to work with you when you can produce a quick win, right? Okay. So that's enough ranting. I just wanted to share a couple like case studies and things I've seen in the industry behind the scenes, because I really want to drive home that this is stupidly simple, but it's also a freaking game changer. And if you are an early adopter, you will dominate. Period. End of story. I think I've beat that to death, so let's move on. And this will be available, I think, right here in free. I don't even think I'm having opt-in because I don't have time to set it up. I'll put it below the video. All right. Lastly, after you've built your own, or maybe you're just saying, hey, listen, dude, this is cool. This is great. Just do it for me. I'm a busy business owner. Cool. I can do that. If you want me to build a custom AI booking bot specifically for you and your business and deploy it for free, that's kind of my shtick. That's what I do. What's the catch? Why would I do that for free? Well, I work on a 100% success fee basis. So if you and I talk and you say, hey, this sounds cool, this sounds interesting. If you deploy this for me for free, then what? We just work out a pay per call type of a deal. Meaning we'll figure out an amount of money that seems fair to both of us, and we deploy this thing on your existing database, which probably should be at least a couple hundred people or more. And you only pay if people book a call. Pretty freaking cool. And if you make a boatload of money, fantastic. We could talk about deploying this same type booking bot for your new leads coming in from your existing lead generation efforts on that same pay per call 100% performance based fee. I think that's a pretty cool offer, right? I'm kind of proud of myself. There's no risk to you. It's fully customized. I'm taking all the risk, right? And if it doesn't work, you've lost nothing. But if it does work, it produces game-changing growth for your business without spending any more money on advertising. And you only pay for results, right? I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so if that sounds cool, just email me right here. It's just paul@paulcorral.com. We'll set up a quick, 15, 30-minute call. If it makes sense, we'll move forward. And if not, I can't help you if it's not a good fit or whatever. I'll definitely point you in the right direction, share some free resources with you so you might be able to deploy something similar on your own. All right? So a lot more of these videos that come. Again, this is nothing but insider stuff. Coming from somebody who's been working behind the scenes for a decade. We're going to be talking about ads. We're going to be talking about offers. We're going to be talking about funnels. And we're going to be talking about the absolute game-changing ways you can implement AI and automation into your marketing in a way that's practical, actionable, and will actually make you money. All right? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good day.